Hey flower friends, welcome back to Flower Patch. Today we are going to dig up and divide some garden phlox. These are the phlox that are up on my front garden fence, and they just did beautifully this year. They're getting quite big, so I need to get in there and divide them, and fall is the perfect time to do that. So we're going to go and do that. So come on along and let's go dig up and divide some phlox. This is like 7 steps of dividing phlox, just to make it easy. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or share with your friends. So here is the tricky part, friends. Up here, I'll walk up there, is my phlox that I'm going to divide. My problem or dilemma is setting up the camera so that you can get a good view down here of the division. So maybe I can do it across there on the other side of the fence because it's more level ground. So the dilemmas of a garden vlogger. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this back. This is my pretty purple phlox. I'll put up a picture of it. I'm sure I have plenty. And I'm just going to cut it back. Now normally you would wait probably till after your first frost, but a lot of times we get snow before we even get a first frost. So I need to get this thing divided before then. So I'm just going to cut it back so I can see what I'm doing. Now I'm going to take cuttings from these and I'm going to try to root them. And so it's not the time of year to do it, but you never know what might work. So it doesn't hurt to try. And I have room in my greenhouse. See, this one has new growth on top, so it might be perfect for taking cuttings from. Okay. Now the other part I'll leave up for now. I just wanted to cut this back so you can kind of see what I'm planning on doing. So this plant, I would say, it's probably 3 foot across. So I'm going to go ahead and get that piece cut off too. I should have put my hair in a ponytail. I hate it when I get out here working and it's in my way and I had forgotten to put it up. But I'm too lazy to go in and do that now. I'm on a roll. Okay, so where did I put my shovel? Over there. One moment, I'll get my shovel. Now, this one is my root slayer shovel. I also have my kid's shovel that I use a lot for this. So I'm going to, all this piece here that I've cut them back, I'm going to get in here and I'm going to slice through this, and being careful not to slice my hose. Last year I did that. Not back far enough, obviously. I could feel it. The roots getting in there. I'm at an angle, so I have to really watch what I'm doing. I garden on a hill, and I had one guy say that I should actually give you all a perspective of how my garden is laid out, and I really should. So if you hear me huffing and puffing, because this is tough work. Okay, I'm getting down through those roots. I'm going along, and I'm trying to sever them from the mother plant. Now, you don't have to be gentle. These plants will do fine. In fact, you can't be gentle. You know, these things you can be rough and tough on, and they will thrive. In fact, some people even consider this type of phlox invasive because they run. This one hasn't ran, but maybe it's a hybrid. I've had it so long I forgot what it was called. So that's another one that was bent down that needs to be cut off. So I have severed it from the parent plant. And now I'm just going to pop it up. So there we have it. There is a nice big piece. So hopefully that was in the camera. If not, I'm going to be mad. So, oh good, we had it in the camera. Hopefully all the digging part was too. All right, so now what? Well, we're right here, and I'm being careful of my irrigation line. So right here is the plant. Now, I could go and plant this whole piece, or I could go right down the middle and divide it again. But you know what? I'm going to leave it as one big plant And then when it comes up next year, wherever I plant it, it will be a nice size specimen. So let's go find a spot for this baby. Do you notice I left a sizable hole right there? I'd say it's a couple inches deep. I'm just going to fill that in with some compost. That'll be a perfect way to fit that in, and I'll clean up that iris that's behind it there. And that actually this will help that iris get a little more sun for blooming next year. So this is probably a good move in more ways than one. So actually, I changed my mind. I am going to divide this because the spot I found that I want to put it is rather narrow. So to get it in there easily, or more easily, I need to divide it. So I just put my shovel down in between the stems, and I just slice down. And now I have 2 bits. And they're ready to plant. So this bit even has a little bit of root on it. I could probably pot that up and let it go on. Okay, so I think I'm going to plant this part. Take out the strawberry plant. No, maybe I'll do this one. It has more canes. So I'm going to show you where I'm going to put it. Over here is the section I took it out from. So I always like to repeat plant. There's all the debris in there that I got to haul off in the beds. So I thought this would look nice over here, about the same distance from the arbor. I'm trying to eyeball it, not exactly, because you know it fills in and does its thing. So I'm going to go over here and plant it up by the fence like that one was. So I am going to grab my other shovel because I like it, and let's get that piece planted. So make sure there's nothing in there, any weeds that I don't want to take with me, and I will get up in here. So this iris is kind of in the view, but you know, you just dig a hole. Dig a hole big enough, and I will put some compost in here and then water it with my organic Rev. I'm just pulling up, this is lime thyme, which is a great ground cover, but it's in my way. And I just want to get down into this soil, which this soil right here, it's a good thing we've been having rain because it's pretty harsh soil. So this is a good test for this plant. So normally I would soak this in organic Rev, but I'm just going to water it this time. Sorry for my backside in your face, but that's how we fly when I can't get on the other side of it. So I will. There's a little bit of loose soil here from digging that spot. Oh, lots of worms. They must be happy in here. And all good. I had been forever treating this bed with compost, etc. So it's got good soil and weeds. I'm pulling up now, but okay, so there we have it planted in place. And I will go get my Rev in my container and in a watering container, and I will do that. I'm going to cut back this iris while I'm here. Just because it needs it. Just needs it. So there's still plenty of lime thyme in there, which is really pretty in the spring, but sometimes in the summer it can start looking a little scraggly. Okay, but back there I didn't mind. It's a nice ground cover for blocking out weeds. So I think that's perfect. Even though it's a little bit further away from the arbor than the other one, I think it will still carry the symmetry I'm looking for as far as adding some continuity between all the beds. These roses really need to be cut back. Okay. Yeah, people say in the fall not to cut back your roses, but I do because of our heavy snows. So you have to do what works for you. Alrighty, so we've got that planted. Now I'm going to go get my growth stimulant and put it on it. So now let's water. Water it in. So I've added the Rev, organic Rev. I'll put a link in the description box. I'm going to water it in with that, and that will help the roots get established. The soil's still warm. We're getting some really cool nights, and the days are only getting into the 60s. Soon it'll be only the 50s, but that can get established now there, and I think that's a perfect spot for it. So that's done. So I have the other piece of that I split apart, soaking in the Rev. I'll give it half an hour, and then I will plant it somewhere else in the garden. I'm going to take the others that I have, that I bought, that are new, the Proven Winners phlox, and I'm going to find out, or I'm going to go look and see where I want to put them. I'm thinking I want the Rose Cottage garden, but I could put them up here on this hillside. I'm going to take a few minutes, think about what I really want, and then I'm going to proceed from there. I dug it up from right over here in by the fence, and I could move some over here. There's this big blank spot. I mean, there is some asters and stuff in there, but I could put the phlox in there, and that would just carry the color from where I planted the first division throughout this front garden, and I think that might be the best idea. And later on I can dig up more. Plus I have the other new phlox I have to plant over in the cottage rose garden, so we will just yeah, I think maybe this spot is a good one. Here we go. Let me get over here. Now, I'm thinking of putting, I have several roses to get in the ground, so I'm thinking of putting another one right here. This is my grandmother's hat rose that's usually a shrub, but it has decided to just take off and become a climber. That happens for me a lot with roses, so I'm going to secure that through the winter. Anyways, the whole idea I was trying to get to, the point, was I may put roses here. So I wanted the phlox to be visible from my side. This is not, you're over there on the road side. This is my side, where I consider, that goes into my yard, garden. And so I want to put it over here. So when the roses get tall, the roses I'm thinking of putting here can get up to 6 feet tall. So I will go ahead and be able to have the phlox in front of them when it blooms. And later on, if I want to, I can put another one on the other side. But I'm just really loosening up the soil here, digging out anything that is in the way. I'm thinking this is that boysenberry truffle, or boysenberry, no, buttercup, something buttercup, boysenberry buttercup. Iris, that was so pretty, I had so many of them right here, and I still have more right there. So I can put this somewhere else, and we'll do so. Just get that out of the way. I've been putting coffee grounds. I read that coffee grounds deter gophers, so I was giving it a try. And I do seem to have less gophers this year, but I'm not sure that's what the deal is. So it's just, if you see dark mounds of stuff, that's the coffee. Okay, so this one has been sitting in the organic Rev water. And look at this big root of something. I thought that was part of it, but it's not. Okay. So there is this one. It's going in here. Now the one thing I want to mention is you want them to set right at the same height they were in the soil before. You don't want them to be shorter, taller. It's just good practice. So to do them at the same height. Some things you can plant a little higher. If I got another rhizome in there I need to dig up. I didn't see it for the grass there. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Anyways, so I'm being very careful. That's my irrigation pipe, drip irrigation, that I put in by myself. Can't say I did the best job, but with this one is one that has the drips in the hose, so it just made it really easy to lay out hose and not worry about putting in emitters separately. But if you want to, I have little sprayer ones too that I added in certain areas. So I'm just securing it in with a good press with my foot. I'm not stomping it because you still want the roots to be able to move around. I'm getting this grass out of here, which is a weed. I'll come back in here later and more thoroughly remove this grass. And this right here is a pretty little lavender aster. I think they were kind of choked out with stuff, so they didn't do really great this year. So I see another piece of a iris. I'll get that later. Okay, so there we have the last one planted. It got soaked to give it a good head start. I'm going to water it in with the leftover Rev or some of it. I'm going to put the other over on my rose because that helps it prepare for winter. Okay, there's some strawberries in here. There's a big foxglove here. There's some more back here I've been trampling on, but they'll recover. So the foxgloves will bloom first in the spring, and this phlox will come up, and that will provide later summer flowers when the foxgloves are all done. So there is the planting after dividing that portion of the phlox. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and coming up next, we are going to be planting the new phlox that I got on my little shopping foray just a few weeks ago. But this one I had gotten earlier in the season. It's been sitting here on my deck and just blooming beautifully. But look, a veronica came up in it. I don't know what kind. I don't even remember what color it was. I think it was a pink. So that was really fun. I got 2 plants for the price of 1 and didn't even know it. So I'm just going to plant that together. I don't know if I can see where to divide it out. I may or may not. It seems to have done well just in the pot together. So, but that's coming up next soon in a video. So stay tuned for that. Okay, I'll see you in my next video.